In the final days of Second World War, one of the Third Reich's most feared weapons simply vanished. What happened to the German submarine fleet? Did they surrender or did they manage to escape to secret bases? Today, we will unravel the incredible process that transformed these invisible predators of the Atlantic into ghosts. It was a real story of sabotage orders, secret cutting-edge technology, and a massive Allied purge operation that condemned the steel to the bottom of the sea. If you are passionate about naval history and post-war mysteries, hit like right now. Let's start. The German submarine fleet, U-boats, which for 6 years was the backbone of naval terror and paralyzed transatlantic trade, physically vanished from the oceans after May 1945. Its end was not a mystery or a clandestine escape, but the result of a deliberate strategy by the Allied powers to dismantle German military capability and, crucially, to absorb the cutting-edge technology they contained. The fate of these vessels was sealed in a three-act process. First, a chaotic surrender mixed with internal sabotage. Second, the appropriation of their technical knowledge by the future superpowers. And third, the massive and systematic destruction of the surviving hulls under the somber Operation Deadlight. The arsenal did not escape, but was dismembered, studied, and for the most part submerged forever in the cold bed of the North Atlantic. The surrender of the Kriegsmarine unfolded in an atmosphere of confusion, military pride, and logistical panic. After Hitler's death, Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz, appointed as his successor, inherited the impossible mission of negotiating the capitulation. His dilemma was complex. He had to achieve surrender terms that would avoid brutal reprisals against prisoners and at the same time prevent sensitive naval technology from falling intact into Soviet hands, a strategic fear already evident. This tension crystallized in the infamous code order Regenbogen, Rainbow, which provided for the massive scuttling of the submarine park. Although the final extent of the order was debated and often contradictory, its mere existence triggered a wave of sabotage. Dozens of crews, motivated by a sense of military honor that forbade surrendering the ship to the enemy, opened valves and flooded bilges, sacrificing their ships in an act of desperate pride in German and Norwegian ports. However, Dönitz was forced to partially revoke the order, seeking a balance between naval honor and the practical necessity of ensuring an orderly capitulation. This resulted in a complex mix of sunken ships in the Baltic and a significant number that finally followed instructions to surrender and sail to Allied rendezvous points, marking the cessation of hostilities on the submarine front. In the days following May 8, 1945, a phantasmagorical image occurred in the North Atlantic. The seas, a scene of invisible hunts, filled with metallic shadows slowly emerging from the depths. Allied planes watched, often in disbelief, as dozens of gray hulls ascended, many with makeshift white flags, sometimes sheets or shirts, waving on their masts. These U-boats emerged from hidden bases in the Norwegian fjords, such as Bergen and Trondheim, or from distant points on the high seas where they had been on mission. Upon receiving the order to surrender, many commanders, even those who had sworn never to surrender, opted for discipline and peace. From Iceland to the Bay of Biscay, the Allied communication network was flooded with messages of U-boat sailing with white flag sightings. The ports designated for concentration and disarmament became the setting for this parade of shadows. The main reception centers were Loch Erebol in Scotland, a remote fjord designated as the first official handover point, Leesahalley in Northern Ireland, which became the main logistical center and a media showcase for the Allied press, and Portland in England, a gathering point for vessels captured in the English Channel. The German crews, exhausted after weeks of confinement and combat, surrendered to their former enemies amidst a mixture of relief and shame. The war was ending on deck, but underneath it, the real battle for technology was about to begin. Every captured U-boat was considered a valuable capsule of naval secrets. The disarmament process, known to the British as strip and search, was a meticulous intelligence operation planned to ensure the neutralization of the ships and the recovery of key information. Allied boarding teams made up of technicians and interpreters focused first on confiscating the code books, encryption tables, and Enigma devices on board. Their total recovery, dismantled piece by piece, allowed the British to confirm that Bletchley Park had managed to penetrate the German codes, completing a silent intelligence victory. But the scientific interest was enormous. Alloys, lubricants, and, above all, the innovations that had revolutionized submarine design were inspected and sampled. This included the snorkel systems, the retractable tube that allowed ships to use diesel engines at periscope depth without visual exposure, and the advanced batteries that allowed unprecedented submerged autonomy. However, the technological crown jewel was the Type XXI and Type XXIII submarines. These ships represented the conceptual leap from a vessel that could submerge to a true vessel designed to operate permanently underwater. The Type XXI, nicknamed the Electroboot, was the culmination of German naval engineering, measuring 76 meters in length and capable of reaching a speed of 17 knots submerged. Its hydrodynamic design and high-capacity battery system allowed it to remain completely submerged for up to 10 days, a revolutionary capacity at the time. Furthermore, it incorporated an automatic hydraulic torpedo reloading system, allowing 6 torpedoes to be fired in less than 20 seconds. The Type XXIII was its coastal version, smaller and more agile, a pioneer in modular construction. When the Allies inspected these models, they understood that they were facing technology a decade ahead of its time. American naval engineers declared it the first genuinely modern submarine, recognizing that all future designs would be based on its principles. The capture of specimens such as the U-2513 and the U-3008 was, therefore, the key to the future of submarine warfare. The technology of the Electroboot Type XXI was so secret that the United States and the Soviet Union literally stole it to build their Cold War fleets. This demonstrates that the German defeat was the beginning of the modern naval era. But the story gets even more epic. What did the Allies do with the more than 100 remaining hulls? If you are finding this injection of history and technology incredible, don't forget to hit like, share this video with a war fanatic friend, and subscribe. Now, to Operation Deadlight. The magnitude of the bounty exceeded the capacity for control and soon became a delicate diplomatic matter, marking the beginning of the technological Cold War. In the tripartite meetings prior to the Potsdam Conference, the Allies agreed to share the captured material. Although in practice, each power rushed to obtain the best specimens and associated blueprints. The United States transferred key submarines for exhaustive testing, and the knowledge of the Type XXI directly inspired the first generation of American attack submarines such as the Tang class. For its part, the Soviet Union demanded its share, copying and improving German designs to give rise to the Whiskey class, Project 613, which would form the backbone of its submarine fleet during the bipolar conflict. The United Kingdom, although focused on dismantling, also absorbed the knowledge. The German technical legacy was not lost, but was recycled and became the universal model for the fleets of the future. The final destination of the vast majority of the hulls was sealed by Operation Deadlight, approved by the Royal Navy in the autumn of 1945. The objective was to tow the more than 150 captured submarines to a deep area of the North Atlantic, northwest of Lough Foyle, Ireland, and sink them in a controlled manner to permanently eliminate the naval and technological threat. The operation, executed between late 1945 and February 1946, was a monumental task. The purge procedures varied and included the use of naval artillery, with British destroyers perforating the hulls, the placement of controlled explosives in key compartments, or assisted scuttling by opening ballast valves. Of the submarines destined for the purge, 116 were effectively sunk, in a mechanical and silent ritual that symbolized the definitive end of the war. However, Deadlight was a logistical nightmare. The winter weather of the North Atlantic was an implacable enemy, with constant storms and swell. The towed ships were in poor condition, with leaks and inoperable systems, which caused more than a third of the vessels to accidentally sink en route before reaching the designated area. The sea, hostile and unpredictable, ended up doing the job on its own. A British Royal Navy officer summarized it by alluding to the lost ships. The sea took them before we could. The German U-boats died anonymously, without resistance, victims of time and weather. Today, these U-boats rest at more than 2,000 meters deep, a vast underwater cemetery that attests to the end of an era. However, their technology did not disappear. The influence of the Electroboot was integrated into the development of nuclear fleets, paradoxically transforming the Nazi terror machine into the universal model of all modern submarines, thus ensuring its technological legacy long after its last hull was lost beneath the waves, and so ended the history of the U-boats that terrorized the Atlantic. Operation Deadlight sealed their fate, turning the hulls into an underwater cemetery 2,000 meters deep. But ironically, their technology, the Type XXI Electroboot, lived on, inspiring the nuclear submarines of the Cold War. What fact surprised you the most? Leave me your comment below. If you like this journey through history, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next documentaries, share it with your friends, and activate the bell. See you in the next video.